My name is Dorothy Mae. I'm 101 years old, and I'm about to tell you something my doctors told me never to say on the internet. I've buried 5 of my doctors. All of them were brilliant. All of them told me I was destroying myself, and every single one of them passed away before I did. Meanwhile, the Japanese, with over 90,000 people living past the age of 100, don't need gyms, and they don't need expensive supplements. They only do 6 tiny movements every day. They're so simple that Western doctors laughed at them until the brain scans showed the truth. I know those movements. I practice with them. And today, I'm still sitting here, sharp as a tack, independent, and completely free of joint pain. For those of you over 50, stick around. I'm about to show you. Before I tell you the movements, I want to tell you how I found them. When I was 66, I had a bad fall. Nothing broke, thank God, but I hit the kitchen floor hard enough to scare myself in a way I had never been scared before. I lay there for a moment, just a moment, and I thought, Dorothy, this is how it starts. I had watched it happen to my mother, to my aunts, to every woman in my family. A fall, then a fracture, then a facility, then a slow disappearance from the life they had known. I was not ready for that. I was not willing. My late husband, Theodore, had a friend named Mr. Hideo Tanaka, a Japanese-American man who had retired to our town after 40 years of working as an engineer in Osaka. He was 83 years old at the time, and he moved like a man of 50, upright, deliberate, smooth. No shuffle, no hesitation, no bracing himself against furniture when he stood up. I asked him one evening at a church potluck, Mr. Tanaka, what on earth is your secret? He smiled. He said, Mrs. Callahan, my secret is that I never stopped moving the way my body was designed to move. Over the following weeks, he showed me 6 movements, simple, quiet, unhurried. Nothing that would make you sweat, nothing that required a gym or any equipment beyond a dish towel. And I want to share every single one of them with you now, exactly as he shared them with me, because I owe my independence to this knowledge, and I think you deserve to have it too. Movement 6, slow walking, Sampo. The first thing Mr. Tanaka taught me was how to walk, and I thought that was the strangest thing I'd ever heard, because I'd been walking for over 6 decades, and I figured I had that one figured out. But he shook his head gently and said, you have been walking fast. You have been walking to get somewhere. I am going to teach you to walk to be somewhere. He called it Sampo. It is a traditional Japanese practice of slow, mindful walking, typically done in the morning, and it is nothing like the power walking you see people doing in mall parking lots with hand weights. Sampo is done at roughly half your normal pace. Each step rolls deliberately from the heel to the arch to the toe. You breathe in a rhythm, 2 counts in, 2 counts hold, 4 counts out, and you pay attention to the ground beneath you, the air around you, the weight of your body traveling through your feet. I know that sounds gentle to the point of being pointless, but I want to tell you what it does to your body that you cannot see. When you walk that slowly and that deliberately, every one of the 33 joints in each of your feet has to engage. Your stabilizing muscles, the ones deep in your hips and along the sides of your ankles that most people lose function in after 50, those muscles have to wake up and do their job. Your brain starts receiving a constant stream of balance information from your feet, and over time that retrains the neurological pathways that control steadiness, coordination, and the reflexes that catch you before you fall. A study from Kyoto University that tracked seniors over a decade found that those who practiced this kind of slow, mindful walking every day had 62% less arterial stiffness and moved with the physical confidence of people 20 years younger. 20 years, not because they were doing anything extreme, because they were doing something consistently. How to start? Go outside, or even down your hallway if the weather is poor, and walk for 10 minutes at half your normal speed. If you have access to grass or dirt, even better. Uneven natural terrain engages more muscles than flat pavement. Breathe in the rhythm. 2 steps in, hold 2 steps. Breathe out 4 steps. Do this every morning for 2 weeks and pay attention to how your feet feel, how your balance feels, how your mind feels when you come back inside. I have done my Sampo every morning for 34 years, even in winter. I put on my coat and I walk. Some mornings it is the best 10 minutes of my entire day. Movement 5, Radio Taiso, the 3-minute morning ritual. The second movement Mr. Tanaka showed me was something he had done every single morning since he was a child in Japan. He called it Radio Taiso, and he told me it had been broadcast on national Japanese radio every morning since 1928. A gentle, flowing series of 13 movements done to a soft piano melody, practiced by school children, office workers, and 100-year-old grandmothers alike. It takes 3 minutes and 15 seconds. That is it. 3 minutes. There is no sweating. There are no difficult holds. The movements are rhythmic and continuous, slow arm circles, gentle forward bends, side stretches, easy knee lifts, done with the smooth, unhurried quality of someone who is not trying to prove anything to anyone, just moving through the body's full range of motion in a way that is honest and complete. Here is why it matters so profoundly, especially after 50. Your joints are lubricated by a fluid called synovial fluid. When you move your joints through their full range, not halfway, not just the narrow corridor of motion that your typical chair-bound day requires, but fully, that fluid gets distributed properly, keeping cartilage nourished and surfaces smooth. When you stop moving fully, the fluid pools, stiffness sets in, and over months and years that stiffness becomes what most people simply accept as just getting old. It is not just getting old, it is not moving enough. In a study of more than 8,000 seniors, those who practiced this morning movement routine daily had 40% fewer falls and 55% less chronic back pain, and they maintained full range of motion in their hips and shoulders well into their 80s. How to start? Look up Radio Taiso online. There are free videos widely available. Do it first thing in the morning, before you have eaten, before you have sat down in your chair. Your body's natural growth hormone levels are highest in the early morning, and your muscles are most receptive to movement after the stillness of sleep. You can do it in your kitchen, in your pajamas, with your bare feet on the linoleum. No shoes required, no mat required, just 3 minutes of honest, gentle movement that tells every joint in your body that today is not the day we stop. I have done this every morning since Mr. Tanaka taught it to me, and I believe it is the single reason my back, at 101 years old, has never given me the kind of serious trouble it gives so many people my age. Movement 4, deep squat rest, the posture we forgot. This one surprised me more than any of the others, and I want to be honest with you about that. Mr. Tanaka asked me to try to rest in a deep squat, heels flat on the floor, knees fully bent, back straight, just resting there the way you might rest in a chair. I lasted about 4 seconds before I had to grab his arm. He, at 83 years old, held it effortlessly for 2 full minutes while he explained to me why. In Japan, and in most of the non-Western world, historically, sitting on the floor and squatting are not exercises. They are simply how people rest and work. And because of that, the hips, knees, ankles, and pelvic floor of people who squat regularly throughout their lives remain functional in ways that the chair-dependent Western body simply does not. A 12-year study of more than 5,000 seniors found that those who could hold a deep squat for at least 2 minutes had a 70% lower chance of needing assisted living. Their hips stayed mobile, their knees remained strong, their independence stayed intact. The biomechanics explain it clearly. A full deep squat opens the hips through their complete range of motion, decompresses the spine, strengthens the pelvic floor, which matters enormously for bladder control, which is one of the most common reasons older adults lose their confidence in social independence and keeps the ankle joints mobile and the cartilage properly nourished. How to start? Do not try to do this unsupported immediately. Stand facing a wall or sturdy countertop, holding lightly for balance. Slowly lower yourself into as deep a squat as you comfortably can. If your heels lift off the floor, fold a small towel and place it underneath them. That adjustment makes the movement accessible at almost any level of flexibility. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, rise back up. Do this 3 times a day, every day, and add 5 seconds every week. Within 2 months, most people who start here are holding a full squat for 2 minutes. The first time I held it for a full minute, I cried, not from pain, from relief, from realizing that my body was not finished yet, that it still had things to give back to me if I was willing to ask. Movement 3, single leg, standing, the 2-minute brain builder. Mr. Tanaka told me that Japanese doctors do not just prescribe medication for aging, they prescribe this: stand on one leg for 1 minute, twice a day. He said that when he first heard it from his own doctor at age 60, he also thought it sounded too simple to matter. Then his doctor showed him the research, and he never questioned it again. A 15-year study out of Fukuoka University that followed 12,000 older adults found that those who practiced single-leg standing daily experienced 68% fewer hip fractures, 75% fewer fall-related hospitalizations, and, here is the part that I find most extraordinary, higher gray matter volume in the regions of the brain responsible for balance and coordination. Because when you stand on one leg, your body is not resting. It is making hundreds of micro adjustments every single second, firing muscles in your core, your hip, your ankle, your inner ear, and your brain is lit up like a city at night, processing all of that information and responding to it in real time. You are not just strengthening your leg, you are strengthening the neurological infrastructure that keeps you upright, mobile, and sharp. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic have stated that your ability to balance on one leg is a stronger predictor of longevity than your cholesterol level or your blood pressure. Think about what that means. A free 2-minute practice available to every single person reading these words, more predictive of how long you will live than the number your doctor reads off a lab result. How to start? Stand near a wall or countertop. Lift one foot just an inch or two off the ground. Fix your eyes on a still point directly in front of you. Breathe normally. Start with 20 to 30 seconds on each side. Once that becomes comfortable, try it with your eyes closed. The darkness removes the visual reference your brain relies on and forces the deeper balance systems to take over. You can also do it on a folded towel to add gentle instability. Japanese seniors famously practice this while brushing their teeth, turning a twice-daily hygiene habit into a full neurological workout. I do mine while I wait for my kettle to boil every morning, 1 minute each side. By the time my tea is ready, I have done something extraordinary for my brain, and I have not even gotten dressed yet. Movement 2, floor-sitting transitions, the daily longevity test. Mr. Tanaka told me something that has stayed with me for 34 years. He said, "Dorothy, the day a person stops getting down to the floor and back up again is the day their world starts to shrink." In Japan, the floor is not avoided the way it is in Western households. People sit on it to eat, to drink tea, to watch television, to play with grandchildren. And because they sit on it, they also rise from it multiple times every single day. That constant transition from standing down to the floor and back up again without using your hands is one of the most complete assessments of functional fitness that exists. A study from the University of Tsukuba, following more than 10,000 older adults, found that those who could perform this transition, sit down on the floor and rise back up without using their hands, had significantly better lower body strength, joint flexibility, cognitive test scores, and a measurably lower mortality rate over the following 6 years compared to those who could not. Because the movement is not just physical, it is neurological. It requires your brain to coordinate balance, spatial awareness, core activation, and motor planning simultaneously. All of these capacities deteriorate quietly after 50 when we stop challenging them, and all of them can be rebuilt when we start asking the body to do the things it was designed to do. How to start? Begin on a carpeted floor or a yoga mat to reduce joint stress. Lower yourself into a kneeling position, using a chair or low stool for support as needed. From kneeling, slowly lower to a seated position, then reverse, rise to kneeling, then to standing. Use as much support as you need at first. Even 2 or 3 of these transitions each day will begin building the strength and coordination that most people assume is simply gone forever after 70. It is not gone, it is waiting. I practice this every afternoon. I lower myself to the floor in my living room, I sit and read for a while, and then I get back up at 101 years old without using my hands. I tell you that not to boast, but to tell you plainly, it is possible. I am the proof. Movement 1, the towel twist, 2 minutes that changed my life. And here we are at the one Mr. Tanaka saved for last. He held up a plain white dish towel. He said, "This is the most important one. Do not underestimate it because of what it looks like." He called it Tenugui Hibiki, a traditional Japanese practice credited by many of Japan's centenarians as their single most important daily movement. And it is, as he promised, almost absurdly simple. You hold a towel at shoulder height with both hands, arms extended forward, and you pull outward gently, as though you are trying to tear it apart. While maintaining that tension, you slowly rotate your torso to one side, keeping your hips facing forward. Hold for 3 full seconds, return to center, rotate to the other side, repeat slowly and deliberately for 2 minutes. That outward tension on the towel is the key. It activates deep stabilizer muscles along the spine, through the shoulders, across the chest and upper back, muscles that rarely fire properly in the course of an ordinary day and that deteriorate significantly with age when left unchallenged. Brain imaging studies have shown that this movement activates both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously, improving coordination, memory, and reaction time in ways that far exceed what the simplicity of the movement would lead you to expect. In a 20-year study of 15,000 Japanese elders, those who practiced this movement daily for just 2 minutes lived an average of 7 years longer than those who did not. Their grip strength, which is itself one of the most reliable markers of overall physical health and longevity, remained above the threshold for independent living well into their 90s. Their bone density tested 20 years younger than their peers. 7 years, 2 minutes a day, a dish towel you already own. How to start? Take any towel, a hand towel, a dish towel, whatever you have. Hold it at shoulder height with both hands at least shoulder width apart, arms straight. Pull outward gently and feel the activation across your upper back. Keeping your hips still and facing forward, rotate your torso slowly to the right. Hold 3 seconds, return to center, rotate left, hold 3 seconds. Continue this rhythm for 2 full minutes. Do it once in the morning when you first get up and once in the evening before bed. It bookends your day with gentle activation, and within a week, you will feel it in muscles you forgot you had. This is the one I never skip. Not once in 34 years. I do it in my kitchen with my old yellow dish towel, and I think of Mr. Tanaka every single time. A word about safety, because you matter too much to hurry. Before I say anything else, I want to speak directly to those of you who are dealing with pain, with old injuries, with knees that ache or hips that have been replaced, or a back that makes certain mornings very difficult. I see you. I have had my difficult mornings too. And I want to say clearly, these movements are not a competition. They are not a test you can fail. Start where you are, not where you wish you were, not where you were 20 years ago, where you are right now, today, in this body, on this morning. Use the wall, use the countertop, use the chair, place the towel under your heels, do 10 seconds instead of 60, move at a pace that feels honest, not heroic. Pain is not progress. Discomfort is sometimes necessary. Pain is your body sending you a message, and the message deserves to be respected. If you have specific injuries or conditions, please talk with your doctor or physical therapist before beginning any new movement practice. These 6 habits are gentle, but every body is different, and yours deserves individual attention and care. What I want you to hear is this: you are not too far gone. I have never met a person at any age who could not make some version of these movements work for their body. The point is not perfection. The point is showing up every morning with intention and patience and asking your body to keep going with you. The part nobody tells you about and the reason. All of this actually works. I want to close with something that has nothing to do with towels or squats or slow walking, and everything to do with why I am still here at 101 years old, still whole, still purposeful, still glad to be alive. These movements kept my body strong, but something else entirely kept my spirit strong. And without that, I am fully convinced, the body eventually follows the spirit into decline, no matter how many exercises you practice, that something else is purpose. When Theodore passed 36 years ago, I went through a period of darkness that I do not speak of often. I had been his partner for 41 years, and suddenly I was alone in this house, in this life, asking myself what any of it was for. I kept doing my movements because the routine was an anchor, but I felt hollow in a way that frightened me. What pulled me out of that hollowness was not a new hobby or a vacation or a change of scenery. It was a woman named Connie who lived 3 streets over, who had just lost her husband 6 weeks after I lost Theodore, and who did not have the same reserves of stubbornness and routine that I had. I started going to check on her. I started bringing her lunch on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I started sitting with her on her back porch and letting her talk until she was empty of words, and then sitting with her in the quiet until the quiet felt like peace instead of absence. And something happened to me in the doing of that. Something physical, not just emotional. My energy increased, my sleep improved. The stiffness I had been feeling in my joints eased noticeably. I moved through my morning routine with a lightness that had not been there before. There is now real scientific evidence for what I experienced, though I did not need science to tell me what I felt in my own body. When human beings have a sense of purpose, when they feel genuinely needed, genuinely useful, genuinely connected to the well-being of someone else, the biological response is measurable and profound. Inflammation markers go down. Immune function improves. Cognitive sharpness is preserved. Physical function is better maintained. The body, it seems, does not fully commit to declining when it believes it still has important work to do. Find your Connie. Find the person in your neighborhood, in your congregation, in your family, in your building, who is struggling quietly and who would be changed by the fact of your presence and your attention. Bring the extra pot of soup. Make the phone call. Show up to sit with someone who needs to be sat with. Teach someone something you know. Share something you have survived. You are not too old to be of use. You are, in fact, at the age where your usefulness takes on a quality and a depth that younger people simply cannot yet offer. The authority of someone who has been through things and come through them, the patience of someone who has learned that most urgencies are not emergencies, the tenderness of someone who has loved people and lost them and kept going anyway. That is irreplaceable. Do not let anyone, including the quieter voice inside yourself, convince you otherwise. And in the private hours, the ones before anyone else is awake, be honest with yourself. Be honest about where you hurt, where you are afraid, where you are lonely, where you need more than you have been willing to ask for. Honesty is not weakness. It is the most courageous thing I know, and it is the foundation of everything real, real health, real healing, real change. Be patient with your body. It has carried you for every year of your life, through everything you have asked of it, and a great deal you did not. It deserves your gratitude and your gentleness, not your frustration. The garden does not bloom because you are angry that it has not bloomed yet. It blooms because you kept watering it, kept trusting it, kept showing up. Nurture your faith in whatever form it takes for you. The stillness that comes with prayer, the clarity that comes with sitting quietly before the day begins, the practice of returning daily, honestly, without pretense, to the belief that your life has meaning and that meaning is worth protecting. That practice, more than anything else, is what I believe kept me whole when everything around me was changing.